introduction to the Ireland in the summer 2016 program offered to you by the Foothill College Department of Anthropology. We call this Castles and Communities, and it runs from June 26th to July 23rd. You are listening to Dr. Samuel Connell, who is one of the principal investigators on the program and the one who will be leading the student program in Ireland this summer. What I'm going to do for this video, the short video, is kind of just describe what we're doing there, and so that if you're interested, maybe by hearing my voice and my descriptions of it, it would make more sense than what you would read on the internet. So let's go for it. What you're seeing here is a picture of everybody from last summer in 2015, on one of our field trips to a medieval city nearby to where we're working. Myself, I've been running field programs, doing archaeology field schools for over 15 years, and specifically at Foothill College for 10 years. And what I'm doing is working with colleagues from around the world and conducting research in the country of Ireland with them, and then involving the students in this, what we call high impact learning, because you guys are taking a part in the real academic research project. So this is something that I've done in the country of Ecuador and the country of Belize as well in years past. It's been highly successful. And last year we moved the program to the country of Ireland because we wanted to start researching medieval history and having our students take part in that research. So what happens when you go as a student is you enroll in the choice of the classes listed here: cultural anthropology, which is applied cultural anthropology, Anthro 12, an ARC lab or an ARC survey, and then a broader archaeological field methods class, which focuses on excavation, and then a general class of called Cultures of the World in the British Islands, which gives you the kind of the background history for the area. And the courses are, we ask the students enroll in 12 units of these courses. Now the units you see here, the courses you see here add up to more than 12, so you get your selection of classes if need be. So how does a project like this kind of start? How do you work in a country like Ireland? Well, as researchers, we have PhDs, doctorates in anthropology. So that allows us to then ask and request permits, or in Ireland it's called a license, from the government to research. And what we're doing is we're linking up with a colleague there, Dr. Neil Brady, who I'll show you in a second, and we are starting a long-term investigation of this castle that you see in the background here. Now, this is similar to what we've been doing in Ecuador, so I was going to show you a little bit about kind of the project in Ecuador and how we got over to Ireland. What you're seeing here is the previous field projects from Ecuador, some of the groups that were living there. If I go back, you'll see here the landscape there and where Ecuador is. And what we're studying there is Inca fortresses, and there's a number of them there that we were excavating with the students. We were staying and had our lab in a place called the Hacienda Huachala, which you see here. And then we packed all that up. We still have some research to do in the laboratory, but we packed it all up with the bags of pottery and the equipment, and we'll be going back in the future. So what we then did, when we decided to do is a very similar thing in Ireland. This is going too fast. It's on a kind of a set timing, and I don't like that. I wish I could see if I could take that off the timing. I wouldn't even know how to do that. Let's see if I can kind of get rid of timings here. Okay, so I'll come back to it. I'll go back to here. So we started this project, and we very intentionally called it Castles and Communities, because we are investigating not only a castle, but the community around the castle and their connections to the community. And so that's why we call it kind of an anthropological settlement survey. And so we're working in partnership with the Ballintober town, or Ballintubber, and with the Dr. Neil Brady, who's the Irish archaeologist working there as well. So a little background history then. We're interested in kind of this area in the northwestern of Ireland where you had a group of kings called the O'Connors who led one of the four great kingdoms of Ireland, the Kingdom of Connacht. The other ones were Munster, Leinster, and Ulster. And from about up until 1169, they had a strong influence for several hundred years over most of Ireland. And this is their crest here with sort of an arm holding a sword, excuse me. But in about 1169, the English, who were the Anglo-Normans at this time, come to Ireland, and they start to take over and colonize the Ireland. They wanted to move populations into Ireland to control it, and they ended up doing that. And only until very recently did Ireland get its independence, or most of Ireland got its independence. And the thing that we're interested in what we're researching is kind of the resistance to the Anglo-Norman English by the Gaelic Irish at this time period. So you can see here they're moving from Leinster here and moving up into Connacht in 1171, and we're interested in that territory there where they were resisting. Now, what the Anglo-Normans were doing was constructing a series of castles all throughout here in order to dominate the landscape. So we're interested in why they would have constructed the castle, and then what were the reasons behind the construction of the castle specifically, and then what happened once the castle was built, and who was living there before the castle was built, and questions like that. So the castle itself is called Ballintober Castle. It's the same name as the little village where we live, and it was built in the 1200s by the English, but then quickly within a couple decades retaken by the Irish who lived there, and then occupied by the Irish for many, many years until the 1600s when it was finally abandoned, and they moved. The Irish O'Connors moved to elsewhere. And amazingly enough, the O'Connor family, the O'Connor clan, still owns the castle today, which is they're the people that we're working with, specifically the owners of the castle, to get permits and permission to do our research there. And this is what the castle looks like today. It's got a big field in the middle of it. It's what we call a keepless castle. It has 4 towers around the outside of it, and the towers look like you're seeing here. They would have been multi-leveled. You have fireplaces that are kind of hanging in the middle of nowhere because it would have been there would have been wooden floors coming across in the castle there. And then after a good rain, you can even still see the moat on the outside of the castle. And the town, then the village, you can see in the background there over here, is just encircling most of the castle. Here this is Dr. Neil Brady, who's been working there for off and on, had been interested in working in this castle for several decades. He's got his PhD at Cornell University in medieval studies, and he has found out about what we wanted to do in Ireland. We linked up, and this wonderful relationship kind of developed, in which we are now working directly with Dr. Neil Brady. And some of the publications that he's written already on the castle are available on the website. Just to show you how to get to the website, I can go over to that, and you go to our launch page for the Foothill Department of Anthropology. You click on the big green icon, and you can here get more information that I haven't told you. There you can also download the application, watch a beautiful video about the project that was filmed by Irish TV last summer, and see more photos of what we were doing when we were there. Let me go back to this. So what do you do as a student if you're there? Well, we're conducting excavations, so these are test excavations which students are taking part in and doing the measurements here and learning how to map. And this would have been some of the final excavation pictures from 2015, from last summer, where walls are being exposed. And what we're trying to do is get below some of these walls to get to the earliest constructions of the castle, because there's many layers of construction. And below that, we would see kind of the initial construction. We're finding a lot of things to be processed and analyzed in the laboratory, ranging from coins, obviously things like nails, a lot of metal, pottery, and other objects, beautiful keys as well. So the 3 excavations that we did last summer are here taken with an aerial drone, like a quadcopter, are here, here, and here. We call them cuttings in Ireland, and you can kind of see where we were excavating from the aerial shot. We were also interested, beyond the excavations, in doing survey, and that's one of the classes that the students take. And so we were interested in kind of everything outside of the castle, especially to the east of the castle. Beyond these walls that you see here, back beyond where that house is and behind the house, that's where we think we found the medieval village that was adjoining the castle. So we're laser mapping the entire castle using a total station. And here the students are learning how to use the equipment. And we are also conducting ground-penetrating radar, geophysical survey, where you drag a machine across the landscape, and we're getting a picture of what is underneath, so we can kind of decide the best places to do excavating. You'll notice here everybody's wearing a rain jacket. The weather is variable. Rainstorms will come in for a little bit and then pass over, and that's just kind of regular Irish weather. The ground penetrating radar, what it does is it gives you an image of what's underneath, and if it's kind of just boring straight a straight image like I'm circling here, you would think there's nothing underground. But if it hits something like here, and here you're seeing a wall underground. So then if you can paste all those together, know where you're located, then you'll know where the earlier walls are, and that's what we're excavating. We also, to the east of the castle, we started doing grids out in the fields to look for the village. And so, well, first off, here's what was found inside the castle. You can see some of these earlier walls marked in red. And then outside of the castle here, I circled where we did a lot of survey last summer. And here's it's being dragged outside of the castle where we think the village was located. And we're finding walls now and perhaps a layout here of a street with several property boundaries delineated. Next summer we're going to be doing some test excavations out here to find these property boundaries underneath the grassy field, as well as also excavating in the castle. So then all the material that's found is taken back to the laboratory where we record it and draw it, and take photographs of the material that we're finding for publication. Here's a student washing some of the materials. A lot of bone was found as well from not human bone. All this is from just regular animals that they would have been eating, like pigs and cattle, goat, etc. We also have a computer laboratory set up. It's set up on top of above one of the pubs where we are eating, and a lot of the social life in this village revolves around the 2 pubs where we rotate having our meals. In addition, you have kind of another whole aspect besides the archaeology, which we're calling the anthropology, more the cultural field work that we're doing, where we immerse ourselves in daily life of the village. We're trying to record stories, the folklore, what we call the oral history project, and we're creating a lot of avenues of outreach, and there's some. It was an incredible experience from that perspective because so many people have this long-term ties to the castle and how they view it, and we're very interested in this kind of this relationship between heritage and their own cultural identity, especially in the area where we're working, which is not very touristy at all. So here's the village itself. This is the main intersection. Not a lot going on. There's no traffic lights or anything like that in Ballintober. It probably has a couple hundred people living there. When we arrived, and right before our first day of research, the local band from the town nearby played for us, and we had speeches, and we had newspaper reporters interviewing us, and there was a lot of presentations, and it was you could tell right from the start that this was just going to be a special moment and a special project to work on. We played soccer with the kids, so you were integrating with the community. And you could see then everywhere you go that the castles are really important to communities. This is another castle in which they conduct weddings at the castle. In our community of Ballintober Village, a lot of what we did revolved around the old schoolhouse, which is now sort of a meeting house. And so we used that for our lectures and for conducting meetings with the villagers and explaining what we were doing. And here we're meeting with some of the village council members. And here is a lecture being conducted by a local scholar. In addition, when we were there, they had a Heritage Day in which they were invited everybody from the entire county to come visit and see what they were doing. And not only were they showing the archaeology, they were also kind of doing traditional crafts, traditional foods as well. So it became a big kind of social experience for everybody. There was a man who lived nearby who collected old swords and then allowed everybody to see the swords and put on the outfits of the times. And so here's a group shot of some of the students and staff dressed up. In addition, we did a lot of dancing with, this would have been after dinner, with the local community as they taught us dance steps. This is attached, this space here is where we actually eat some of our dinners, and it's attached to one of the pubs. And then it was just general fun things. Here's an example of pig racing, which was something that the entire community, this is the town of Castlereagh. It's a little bit bigger city that's about 10 minutes away. Everybody went there to watch pig racing. For that big Heritage Weekend, we had the U.S. ambassador came from Dublin to visit, and here he is, he and his wife having some of the pottery and artifacts explained by the students. And so this was a wonderful experience for the students to kind of show off what they had already learned. In terms of daily activities and what we're doing when we're out there, we have all day. We have either archaeology or the applied cultural anthropology that we're doing. So the students are kind of split into groups, and they do these different tasks. And they're learning, therefore, depending on also on the classes they're taking, they're learning specific parts of anthropology. Then there's a lot of downtime for communities, community time we'll call it, and then there's the meals. The meals are either within their lodgings, like breakfast is prepared individually with breakfast food that all the houses that we rent have, and the community has allowed us to rent some of the homes in the town, which was amazing. And then we have lectures as well, which are generally either in the day or after dinner, and that's by myself or some of the other scholars and local scholars that come in to visit the program and give us their expertise. Here's a video. Here's a shot of the town, or the main street in the town, and we stayed in that house there. Some people did. In addition, there's a manor house that the O'Connors, the family that owns the actual castle, has, and that's their home there. They have in that house a very high-end bed and breakfast that we do not use. But to the left of this picture, there are these kind of old carriage houses in which we also rent this group of homes. It's and just like any of the other houses, they all have a kitchen for preparing food. Although we're offering dinner and lunch within in the village in the pubs, because they hire their own cooks that we then eat the food there. The homes are all well appointed, like you're seeing here, and the homes in this location are wonderful. The kind of drawback is that they're about 15 minutes away from all the action. So when we last year we didn't have many students that really wanted to stay in this area. We had some retirees who were students that did want to stay here, and some of the staff wanted to stay here. In the upcoming summer, my family will stay in the village, and some of the other archaeologists might stay out here. So we'll be in both locations. And that's basically it for this presentation. I just wanted to call your attention to the main web page. And if you need to contact me by email, please do, or give me a call. My name is Samuel Connell, and I'm at Foothill College. So thank you very much for your time.